No, but do you know who Bob Hertzberg is?
No.
You heard the name? So he's the Speaker of the California State Assembly, a big-time Democrat. And by the way, these allegations come from, that I'm about to talk about, are from a Democrat. So Bob Hertzberg is he's a major political leader in California, which is an important state, right? Now, so here's what's happened. A woman's come out and said that Hertzberg hugged her. Okay, now...
A lot of women could say that about me, but let's see how far it went.
Okay, right.
I've hugged a lot. You know me, I'm a hugger. I've hugged a lot of people.
Okay, so far, it sounds right. Like, I don't know if this is sexual harassment or not. You tell me. Now, let me ask you this. You say you've hugged a number of women.
Yeah, I've hugged a lot of people.
Have any of them ever said, "Don't touch me"?
No.
Okay, so this woman says she told him a number of times, "Don't touch me." And
she gave him the can't touch this kind of thing, huh?
She literally, because what he would do is he would come up and do an arms wrapped around. Here, I'll show you the picture, Garland.
There's a difference.
And by the way,
between
this is
hugging,
not who.
And you know what? Let me say this. And people that know you, like friends of mine, and people that know I'm a hugger, I walk up and they stick their arms out, like, and we hug. You know what I mean? I don't just walk up randomly to people. Oh, she's a hot babe over there. I think I'll hug her.
You can find this story in the Sacramento Bee. I'm going to show you a picture. Now, this is not who's claiming that there was sexual harassment, but this is Bob Hertzberg hugging Antonio Villaraigosa, the former mayor of Los Angeles. Now, this is the kind of hugs he does. So just get it in your mind.
All right.
I'm just going to show it to you, Garland, and then try to describe it to our radio audience who may not be able to see the picture. That's the kind of hugs he would do.
I got a problem with that hug right now.
Okay,
First of all, you
go.
don't hug people from behind.
Okay.
How about we start there? You don't hug people from behind. If I was, and being a guy, if somebody hugged me like that, yeah, I'd have a problem. Probably have a problem with that.
Okay, so it's to describe the hug, it's a fully arms wrapped around hug. It is a wrapper. It's a reach around hug. Yeah.
You might say.
A reach around hug.
Yeah, that's not.
By the way, people are getting the wrong impression.
Right.
That's not what was happening with Antonio Villaraigosa right there. It's whatever's going on in your dirty minds.
Right.
Get it out. It's a little early for that. Okay, so this woman said to him, "Don't touch me." Okay.
And he did it anyway.
Okay. Well, now here's. And by the way, the woman who made the statement is Linda Halderman. She's a Republican who said this, and a doctor. And she said, "Look, stop hugging me. Stop doing that." And
he didn't stop.
So here's what he did. I'm quoting here. I'm reading this. "The last time he approached me was in the Capitol hallway. I told him, 'Don't touch me.' He responded by grabbing me, pinning my arms against my side, and thrusting his groin against my pelvis."
Let me say something. That looked pretty much like who was the guy that you showed me the picture of, the mayor that he hugged?
Yeah, Villaraigosa.
That's exactly describes what he did to Mayor Villaraigosa. So at least one good thing, we know it's not just women he does too. He does that too. Pretty much, it looks like this guy's hug is to pin their arms, wrap his arm around them, and thrust his groin against them.
Then she goes on. "He restricted me from moving away, forcing prolonged torso-to-torso contact." I'm laughing not because it's funny, just because it's not funny.
I'm laughing because that's what he did to the mayor. There's a picture of him doing that to a guy.
Despite my shouting at him to let me go. Now, so then she goes to the Assembly's chief administrative officer, and he said, "That's just how Bob is. That's just how Bob Hertzberg is. That's the way he is." Which, by the way, from this photo, it looks like that's how he is. That's a full, and by the way, it sort of looks, does not, take a look at that. It sort of looks like, you remember...
Brokeback Mountain, which
No,
I never
that's
saw.
not
That's
what
what I think of. When I see him hugging this mayor, that's what comes into mind. Brokeback Mountain. I might add a movie that I never saw.
No, I was thinking of the guy from Seinfeld, the heavyset guy.
Oh, yeah. He has that grin on his face, the really funny guy.
You know who I'm talking
about. Yes, he's
about.
hilarious, yes.
What's his name?
I can't think of it. I'm sure that producer Michael.
It's the one who, what's that? Newman,
yeah.
That's right. Thank you,
exactly.
Engineer
It looks
Andre.
like Newman.
For the $500 one, for the $500 prize, gets Newman. Yeah, he looks like Newman giving Antonio Villaraigosa a hug. So anyway, so is that sexual?
That's weird. And what's weird is he did it to this woman, right? he hugged this woman like that, and you're like, man, that's terrible to a woman. And then you see a picture of him doing exactly what she described to her, to this mayor. And I'm like, man,
and she says 2 other women have come forward.
And probably 2 other mayors.
No. Yeah, it's possible.
I'm just thinking.
It's possible.
Guy, yeah.
I got to say, there are some mayors I wouldn't try that with.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Would you have done that to Marion Barry?
No, you'd probably get punched.
Right. That depends.
But I wouldn't hug anybody like that. Think about somebody hugging somebody from, like, not quite behind, not straight behind, but a little bit on an angle, right? Putting your arms around that person, like tight, where their arms are against their side, and pinning them together and holding them tight, putting pretty much your chin on their shoulder and grinning. That's the picture of what he did to the mayor. I don't have to wonder what he did to this woman because I got a picture of it with a mayor.
Here's the thing with Marion Barry, and by the way, rest in peace, Marion Barry, but you would either get punched or end up in a threesome. It's hard to say. It could go either way. It just depends on Marion's mood at that point where it's going to go. Hey, don't forget, if you miss an episode, and God knows, especially after this segment, why would you want to? If you missed a segment of the show, you can check us out on the Apple Podcast app. See how modern I sound, Garland?
Oh, man.
Or on Spreaker, or on the Sputnik website, or on the Sputnik app. A big hello this morning to everybody listening to us, including all the Uber and Lyft drivers on 105.5 FM and AM 1390. So the other thing I did yesterday, Garland, was we were talking about this earlier. I moved